Hi friends, it's Becky, and I'm going to make a necklace with you today. This week has been all about, for me at least, easy projects, things that are fairly simple to start, simple to finish, and still give you a really great impact. And today I want to continue that a little bit, but I want to increase the difficulty level just a little bit. We're still going to be stringing, we're going to be putting beads on a wire, doing crimping for our finishing, but I'm going to use both ends of the wire for my stringing, and I'm going to be using some 2-hole beads for part of this necklace. So that being said, I am also going to be using this 0.014 inch beading wire. This is the fine from Soft Flex. It's a nice slinky wire that is very flexible, and I think that's exactly what I want for this project. So I'm going to be using that for my stringing. I've got some cutters to cut my wire with, and because I'm using a smaller diameter beading wire, I decided to pull out these Xuron crimpers. This will be the first time that I'm using them. My friend Melanie has been telling me for months to try out these Xuron crimpers, so I got some, and so we're going to do some crimping with some smaller crimp beads. These are 1.5 crimp beads instead of the 2x2 crimp beads. I'll just show you real quick. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see kind of the size difference between these and the others. This is the 2x2. That's what I use the magical crimper for. And this is a smaller one. It's 1.5 millimeters. So we're going to be using those on this beading wire. And I'm going to try out these Xuron crimpers and see if I can get them to work right, because one of the reasons I love using my magical crimper is because I'm terrible at doing crimps with these. But Melanie was like, you got to try out the Xuron. It makes it easier. You're going to have a much better time with it. So we're going to be doing that. And because I'm using regular taco style crimps, I've got some crimp covers. This is another reason I like using the magical crimpers, because I don't usually have to do that, because my friend Melanie told me that they are really great. You can just use this like third little curvy section in here to close your crimp covers. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing crimping on easy mode using these pliers, and I'm going to try them out and see how they work for that. For the beads that I'm using, I am using beads from my Adornable Elements subscriptions for this month. I get the 2-hole bead and the seed bead subscription, and they've also started sending me some a rotating beads of the month, and this month's rotating was the Hot and Trendy. So I'm going to be using these daggers from the Hot and Trendy subscription. These like watermelon colored, they're salmon is the color, but I love this color pink. It is so pretty. This color of pink seed bead. So we're going to be doing that, and that's from the seed bead subscription. And then from the 2-hole bead subscription, we've got these Samos. They are Parpuka Samos, and these bar beads, and they've got 2 holds as well. So we're going to be using these for our stringing and for our beading. And then in the optional Findings companion pack that you can purchase, there was this swirl button, so I'm going to be using that for closure. All right, now let's pull off some wire, and I'm going to want enough wire to fit comfortably around my neck with some extra. And I know from experience that this board measuring from this end to this end will do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. It is 15 inches. And then I'm going to add about 4 inches for crimping. And now that I've got that length measured with my fingers, I want to pull off not twice as much, but 3 times as much. So I'm going to bend this in half. So that's once. And then where this ends, whoops, let me get that other end over here, because I want to keep holding that end so I'm not pulling off 4 times as much. I'm going to bend that again right here and measure off that much. And that's how much wire I want. I'm going to go ahead and give that a clip. Stick this over here on the other side of my desk, because now I've got my wire. And I am going to find the 1/3 section. This is half. So 1/3 should be because that's where my button is going to go. I should have kept it the same way when I pulled it off of there. Okay, I've got the ends of the wire in my fingers, and then I'm just looping it, the loop part, through my other fingers so that I can get 1, 2, 3 like that. All right, so this is going to be 1/3. I'm just going to clamp this here so that I know where that is. And I'm going to get this started by putting one end, let me just double check that that's, oh yeah, that's going to be plenty. So I'm going to put one end of this wire through one hole of the button because I'm going to do the button first. We're just going to make our lives easier by starting with the closure and then moving on from there. And let's get some of these 11/0 seed beads out. I think 3 seed beads along the outside of this buttonhole. Let's see how those fit. Actually, I might. 1, 2, 3. These are pretty big holes in here. I may as well just put all of the seed beads that I want on here, which would be 7 of them. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to go through the other end of this hole. I wanted 2 seed beads on the outside and 3 seed beads on the inside. Maybe I should tighten this up. Maybe a couple more seed beads actually. Yeah, I think 2 more seed beads, 1 on each strand. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off because this is about where I want it to be. And I'm going to do 1 seed bead on each strand. So that's strand 1. There, it's fallen there. And strand 2. Sorry, I don't know why I'm putting that strand in my mouth. Strand 2 right there. Okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, now I'm going to try crimping this right here. Don't move. So I'm also going to, while I've got this, and this is the long strand, I'm going to grab a marker and there's some blank paper. I'm just going to mark the end of this wire so that when I am stringing, I know which is my long end and which is my short end. It's one of the reasons I chose a lighter color of beading wire, is so that I can have that visual difference when I'm doing my stringing. This was a tip somebody gave me at the end of one of my beading videos, and I thought that was such a brilliant idea. What a great idea. So we're doing it. All right, so let's grab a crimp, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the long end first, move that down out of the way, and then put my shorter end through it so that both ends are going through this crimp in the same direction. And I'm going to move it down till it's right next to where I've got these guys. I don't want to crimp it directly next to it, just close enough, because there's going to need to be some room for the crimp cover between these beads and my crimp. So let's Scooch the beads a little bit. Scooch that crimp a little bit. All right, so this is going to be a little fiddly. All right, all right, all right, all right. I think that's a good place for crimping. Yeah, that's going to be a good place for crimping because there's room for the crimp cover to go. And I want to make sure that the wires are not crossing. And now there's 3 different closey areas on there, and then the big mountains and valleys jaw over there on the back, and that's where it does the taco crimp. And one of the things someone was saying, that one of the reasons I have so much trouble with doing the taco style crimp is that you should try to use one of these to kind of make an eye shape with your crimp first before you do the taco. And usually I just went in for the taco. So I'm going to use this second one right there, and that gives me an ellipse shape. And then I'm going to move here to the peaks and valleys section, get it in the valley. There we go. Get it in the valley right there. Then we've got that crimped that way, and then I'm going to stick it right here in this the last section, to fold it over itself. Not in the flat part, but this rounded part here. Where are you not? You know what? I think this is going to be a lot like other types of tools, where the more you do it, the more you practice it, the better you're going to get. Also, it might be easier to do it not on camera, because I am holding it quite a bit a ways away from my face so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now that's crimped, and that is actually a very nice crimp. But I want a crimp cover because it's got these rough edges on the corners, and I hate when that rubs against my skin. So let's crimp cover that. I'm going to set this right here in this third, the largest curvy section, so it can just hold it. Then I'm going to scooch my wire right into the opening, if I can, of that. I'm not squeezing this shut. I'm just holding it sort of gently. This is really awkward, fellas. My friends. Okay, so the crimp is in there. You can see it. The crimp's in there. Let's close that up gently. And then this is what Melanie was saying, that you can use it sort of the way I do with the magical crimper, by rotating and just giving it a gentle squeeze from different angles to make sure it gets nice and rounded. Again, gentle squeeze. Boom, crimp covered. It's rotating too much. No, not that part. Okay. Rounded. All right, now we can begin beading. And I'm going to go ahead and stay zoomed in a little bit so that you can see these beads a little bit better. I'm going to pull out more of the 11-0 seed beads because this first part is just the 11-0 seed beads and these 2-hole beads. I'm going to move that out of the way because we won't need those till the end. I'm probably going to use all these sammos and the bar beads. Oof. Come on, mister. So on each strand, I'm going to get 3 11-ohs. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Scooch those down there to the end. 1, 2, 3, and this is my longer end. Loop. Now let's stick a bar bead in there, and to do that I'm going to stick it onto both strands at the same time, each strand through a separate hole. And these bar beads don't have a front or back or a top or a bottom, so it makes them really easy for this design to work with. Loop. There we go. And then 3 more 11-ohs on each strand. 1, 2, 3. These 11-ohs are just going to be, we're going to use a lot of them. In fact, I'm sort of hoping I have enough. If I don't, that'll be fine, because I can get more. There we go. Now I'm going to put on my Samos. Now the Samos do have a top and a bottom, or a right side and a wrong side. You've got your flat side, and then you've got your rounded side. So when you go through like the first time, it doesn't matter which holes you go through, but the second time you do it, you're going to want to make sure that it is going to show up the same way with that rounded end, you know, facing the same direction. So when I have 2 hole beads that are like that have like an up or a down, I like to line them all up so that I can go through those holes in the same directions each time. So if I'm going left to right with my short one on top and my long one on the bottom, then the next time I go through those, it will end up in the correct orientation. And that's just something that I like to do when I'm using these 2 hole beads that have a top side and a bottom side, is line them up so that you're going in the same direction with your guys every single time. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to be repeating this for a little while. So 3 11-ohs and then a bar bead, and then 3 11-ohs and a Samo. This is what I'm going to repeat until I get about how many inches? Because I just want this part to be the back of the necklace, where, oh, I picked that up instead of, I was going to demonstrate to you how that's going to work. Okay. So now that it's facing the same direction, in the top hole, I'm going through my short strand from left to right. And then in the bottom hole, I'm going to go with my long strand. That's off camera, sorry. From left to right, because it's facing that same direction as what I previously had on here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. This is such a soft, romantic colorway. I love that. But yeah, I'm going to repeat this until it gets to about, let's say 5 inches. So once I've got 5 inches strung like that, then we'll start doing the front part of the necklace, and it's going to be kind of like a collar. We've got our back part here that we're going to be stringing, and then we'll have a front part where we start adding our daggers. So I'll meet you back here when we've got 5 inches of this strung. All right, so here we are. It is about 5 inches. It doesn't have to be exactly 5 inches, but you know, about that much. That's going to be long enough. And this is the part where we're going to start adding our daggers in. I have just added one of my bar beads. I did my 3 seed beads, bar bead, 3 seed beads, samo, 3 seed beads, bar bead, and repeated that, and I ended with a bar bead. And this is the part that is just going to be a little bit different, and we're going to add this in, and it's going to be like this for a little while so that we can get these added for the single hole one. So on my top strand, on my short strand, I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads. 1, 2, 3. All 3 of them right there. And then on my lower one, this is my longer one, I'm going to pick up 1 11-0. Going to go through the hole on the dagger bead, pick up another 11-0. And that's on my longer strand. And then I'm going to pick up a bar bead, and I'm going to go through the bar bead with both of my strands. And what this is going to do is, because the dagger bead is wider than the seed beads, this part of the necklace is going to curve because of that. And that's why we have a longer strand and a shorter strand. It probably didn't need to be like twice as long as the other. I just wanted to give myself enough room for anything. I didn't know if I was going to want to like loop it around things or not. I decided as I was doing this that I'm not going to loop it around things. So it could be shorter than that. As long as it's a little bit longer than your short strand, you should be good. So now my short strand and my long strand, I'm going to add another 3 seed beads. Get my long strand up there. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to add a samo. Oop, I need to get my samos lined up because they are not lined up. And I need to make sure that I'm going through them in the right directions. Short strand, left to right on the top. Long strand, left to right on the bottom. So that is the repeat that I'm going to do until I have about 7 daggers. I want 7 daggers on here along the front of this. And if you needed a count, by the way, for how many samos I did before we started adding the daggers, it's 7 of those as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's what gives me my length there. So I'm going to add 7 of these daggers, and when I'm done adding those daggers, then we'll switch back to this. So I will meet you back here after I put 7 more sections just like this on this necklace. All right, here we are. I have added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of my dagger sections for this necklace. And now I'm going to just do the back half of this necklace, and I'm going to add 7 more of these just plain samo and bar sections starting right here. I have my 7 Samos here, and then I've got 2 Samos left over. After I'm going to be done making this necklace, maybe I'll make some earrings to go with it. Well, we'll see. We'll see. So on this, it's going to be exactly the same as before. I've got these all lined up so that the holes are in the correct orientation for when I put them through. And it's going to be the same pattern with a Samo on both strands. And then 3 seed beads on each strand. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And then a bar bead on both strands. What are you doing over there, buddy? That's not where you go. You go over there with your friends. I know you want to be part of this necklace. Don't worry, just wait your turn. How about you be next, since you're so eager? All right, and then 3 more seed beads before we do another Samo. And I'm going to go ahead and repeat this until I have all 7 of those additional Samos strung up along the side, and then we will, there we go, that's the guy who was trying to get in on things, and then I will show you how to finish it off. We're just going to use the, where are you going? There we go. We're going to use some seed beads and make a loop with the seed beads to go around the button for our closure. So let me get these guys strung, and I will join you back here once it is the length that I want it to be. All right, so I got to the end, and when I did my fit check, I realized that my math wasn't mathing, so I just added some extra sections with some seed beads and these bar beads just to extend the length. It'll be behind my neck, so it's not going to be that important for me to see, and I'd rather just extend it on this side rather than take apart the whole thing and start from scratch. So that's what I'm doing. So we're gonna have these on here. All right, so now that I've got that all extended, let's get this end finished up. I'm gonna stick a crimp tube on both strands of wire. So I'm just putting it through one wire first, and then the second one. I'm going to put this crimp next to these seed beads, and I'm going to leave that there while I work out how many seed beads to put on here for a loop to go around the button. So I'm going to start with, let's start with 14. See how many that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. That is probably not going to be enough for sure. So let's add 10 more. That'll bring us to 24. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's 11, so that's 25. And if I bring this back here, this is just a little bit short. So I'm going to add 3 more seed beads. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to want the loop to be long enough that the button can go through it without putting too much strain on the loop, but not so loose that it's going to fall out. And I think that is perfect. That makes, let's see, 25 plus 3 is 28. So 28 seed beads. That works for that button. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this longer strand of wire and I'm going to put it through all of those same 28 seed beads that I just strung on my shorter end, but going in the opposite direction. So I'm doing it before I bend it back so that it's a little bit easier to get all of these beads onto both wires. Come on, buddy. I may be going through a couple of beads at a time for a little while. It's just going to get a little fiddly. That's okay. I'm scooching them along, but I don't want them to come off of that first one. I just want both ends of my wire going through those 11-Os in opposite directions. We could have it just be one length of wire through these seed beads, and that would be fine. But I want both for the stability, you know? There is a smaller diameter wire that Softflex makes called the Very Fine, which you would not have this problem with. This is the fine diameter. We are just going to put all these guys on there. almost through. Okay, one more. Right. Perfect. Now what I'm gonna do is pull this. So I'm gonna want this to go all the way through. Now it's bending over. Before I tighten it up, I want this end of my wire through the crimp tube. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Where's that end of the wire? Remember, I have not crimped this yet. There it is. All right. Grab that end. And then this end of the wire also going through that crimp tube, which I have not crimped. Hopefully there's going to be enough room for that. I'm going to go ahead and snip off that bent part of the wire, because it got a little bit bent from pulling it with my pliers. Come on. One, two. Wait. Oh, it went through. It's in there somewhere. It went through that seed bead. There we go. All right, now let's get that there. I'm going to grab both of my wires and try and pull them through the crimp tube. We need to move these down here. This is definitely going to keep this from coming apart. All right, and that last one. All right. Whew. That was sure fun. All right, now I've got some bare wire between these beads, and that's perfect because when I crimp it, I am also going to want to put a crimp cover on this. And I don't want my crimp or my crimp cover to break any of these beads. So I'm going to go ahead and use this crimper again. I'm going to give it a little smoosh right there in that one and pop it over into the valley to do that kind of a crimp. back there to fold it over. Don't smush it. I don't want to break my crimp. Okay, and I didn't. All right, now I've got my excess wire. I'm going to cut that right there. Now we've got our crimp cover. There it is. Whew. This was an adventure. Let's get that crimp in there. Aha. Give it a little smoosh. And that's not quite right. So let's just go around it a little bit from different angles and get that rounder. Look at that. I did it. Okay. So it looks like I can do this type of crimping after all. Whew, that was fun. Now I've got a little kind of a chokery necklace. Let me turn that around so that that loop is facing the right way. There we go. Using some beads from the Adornable Elements Beads of the Month clubs. Again, seed beads, 2-hole beads, and hot and trendy beads. And then we had those. Let's just make some earrings since I've got these extra beads. We'll do that real quick. Since there were these earring findings that also came in the findings kit. I'm just going to grab some 26 gauge craft wire to do these earrings with. And they'll be super quick and easy. I'm going to pull off about 5 inches of wire for this. I'll do one with you and then I'll do the second one separately, because the second one will be exactly the same as the first. And I'm going to find the middle, just with making a U shape and a bend. And in that middle section, I'm going to drop the dagger bead. And then on each end of my wire, I'm going to put on 1, 2, 3. Let's do 5 of these seed beads on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to put each end of this wire, again, this is 26 gauge wire. I'm going to put each end of this 26 gauge wire. Now I've got these guys down here at the bottom of my wire. I want that to be straightened out a little bit. I'm going to put each end through one hole of one of these samos. Scooch this down next to those beads. And I'm going to do 3 11/0s on each end of the wire. That is 1, 2, 3. And 3 on the other wire. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to put one of these bar beads here. This is just going to be a nice little earring to go with this necklace. So I'm just using the same beads for both of them. And then I think 3 more 11/0 seed beads on top on each of those wires. 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3. All right, now let's make a little loop up here at the top. I'm going to use some of my bead or my wire working tools. I've got some chain nose pliers, still have my flush cutters, and then I've got a round nose plier right here. So I'm just going to grab these right here next to the seed beads, push them together, and then bend them right over the top of my chain nose pliers. And that'll give me a little bit of space here between the seed beads and my bend. Up here on the bend, I'm going to take both ends of that wire, pull it all the way around my round nose pliers to make a little circle. Hold that circle, and I'm just going to go and wrap down around both of those wires with both of those wires till I get down to the very bottom. And right here in the back, and I know it's the back because I've got the round side of my Samo facing forward. Cut off the ends of these and tuck my ends of my wires close to the rest of my work. And with these earring findings, this part right here will swing open like a jump ring. Just swing it open a little bit more so that I can fit that on there. And now I can put my loop that I just made right there onto that. Close it. And I've got an earring that I can wear with this necklace. All right, I'll put a link in the description below for Adornable Elements. If you want these specific beads, you can message them and say, hey, I saw Becky making stuff with them, and you can see if you can buy extras. Or if you want to start getting the subscriptions, if it is before the 1st of the next month, when you subscribe, if you use my code, you'll get the exact same beads that I'm already using when you subscribe to those same subscriptions. Anyway, I will talk with y'all later. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend and happy beading. Bye.